Hey everybody. So today on March 4th, 2017, many Canadians wrote to protest and counter-protest the bill M-103. This bill was proposed to help condemn and combat the rise of Islamophobia, but it really stands for combating all forms of systemic racism and religious discrimination in Canada. Here's some footage from across the nation.
It's a tense scene. Two protests planned in close quarters. And it all started when a group called Canadian Coalition for Concerned Citizens organized demonstrations across the country, protesting Motion 103.
I stand for free speech, for free of expressing your opinion.
M-103 is a private member's motion put forward by Liberal MP Akira Khalid, and it asks the government to quell the increasing public climate of hate and fear and condemn Islamophobia and all forms of systematic racism and religious discrimination.
According to this motion, I can't criticize Islam, right? It's not freedom of speech.
That caught the attention of another group, calling for something different.
We thought it would be a great idea for us to demonstrate that we reject hate and, we will not stand while people promote Islamophobia.
And amidst all the yelling and chanting, emotions ran high. You can see there are dozens of police officers here, including members from the mounted unit, and they're all here to oversee the two protests that are happening at Nathan Phillips Square. Police bikes acted as a barricade separating the two sides. At least 2 people were arrested.
It's just saying there's something about the Islamic ideology that we're against. That's it. It's no different than saying you're against communism.
It makes me really sad.
It was just 2 weeks ago that another protest happened outside of a Toronto mosque. Jackie Pegg was there.
I saw the protest arrived and a couple of us went down and did a spontaneous counter-protest at the time it was happening. We just grabbed paper and ran down and made signs, and we're giving messages of peace to the mosque goers as they were leaving because they were horrified.
Which is why she felt compelled to come out on Saturday.
It matters a lot to me that we retain that positive, inclusive, diverse value and that we protect it.
Two groups of protesters faced off outside City Hall Saturday. On one side, far-right groups opposed to a government motion condemning Islamophobia. On the other side, hundreds of opponents equipped with anti-racism signs. Montreal police in riot gear tried to keep the two groups apart, creating a barrier in between them and their views.
Muslims in, racists out!
But tensions between the groups quickly flared, resulting in a few scuffles. Protesters from far-right groups say they're against M-103, a motion currently before the House of Commons asking the government to condemn Islamophobia and all forms of systemic racism and religious discrimination.
We want free speech, as is our right in the Charter of Charter freedoms. We have the right to opinion.
Protesters say they stand for pro-Quebec values and claim the protest is to assert their right for free speech.
We need to take less Muslims into our country.
But anti-fascist activist Jaggi Singh says those views shouldn't be acceptable.
They're basically an Islamophobic, anti-immigrant, racist organization hiding behind free speech, and there should be really no place for those kinds of groups in our societies.
And so community members mobilized to confront the far-right groups. Both sides standing up for what they believe is right, clashing over the future of our society.
How can you be a member of our Jewish community and stand up with this hate? This isn't what the Torah preaches.
You got into an argument with somebody that was holding a sign with what he says was a phrase from the Quran. What was that about?
So I was really frustrated because as a Jewish queer woman here, that is the sort of propaganda that was used to incite hate in World War II and led to genocide. And for me, being here, representing for me and my community, I think that it's a no-brainer that we need to stop this systemic hate the way that it's starting right now.
Does your life matter?
I'm wearing a Make America Great Again hat, and I'm not fully white. I'm Métis, and so it's not a white supremacist thing at all. My basic stand is, yeah, everybody has the right to be here, but no one has the right to stand up front and say that because we believe differently that we're terrorists. We're not terrorists.
Your country has changed. And look how beautiful it's become. Here,
We're just accepting other
has been a big help to our movement.
Kill elites, for example.
I don't see no fascists here. Are they what? Are they scared? I don't see no fascists here.
So support them as well, because throughout Canada, it's beginning.
Just over on the other side, when I got here, there was a woman with this, no Sharia law sign, and she just sort of scuttled off into the shadows like those people are wont to do when confronted with the mass of decent humanity, which is our city. I think we've been successful.
My personal stance on Bill M-103? I oppose it, because I fully support free speech. People should be able to spread whatever moronic bigotry they wish, just as I should be free to ridicule them for it. Except you know what the majority of these far-right outlets spreading Islamophobia on steroids have in common? They are all massive Zionists. Even Richard Spencer, a white supremacist considered the farthest to the right, is a Zionist. Which raises the question of how opposed would these far-right groups be to stand against anti-Semitism aimed bills? Where was this kind of protest when Prime Minister Harper passed such a bill, named the Ottawa Protocol? See, this is the common standard of radical Zionists, consistently showing their massive hypocrisy. So yes, I agree Canada does not need a law against Islamophobia, just same as we don't need a law against anti-Semitism. I mean, think about it. This Ottawa Protocol Act makes any criticism of a state and not its people that has mocked international law for many decades considered racist hate speech. Never mind the fact that much criticism of the Zionist state comes from Jews, as I display often. Clearly, all we need is more education on matters, and maybe a little more intelligent ridicule of ignorance. I hope this helped and gave you something to consider. Best wishes. Salut tout le monde.
Montreal resident Nahid Ali brought her young daughter to the protest. She says she wants to teach her what she calls fundamental values.
There should be no division. There shouldn't be any lines drawn between people by way of race, color, or ethnicity, or religious beliefs. And I want my daughter to see that there is a standing for people that stand up for humanity and what is right.